to who there ever was. Next on stage, the 6th Doctor and star of Come Dine With Me, Colin Baker.
Hello, Earthlings. Thank goodness you look almost human. How are you all today? My name's Colin. What's yours? Come on, let's have it. Right, I'll try and remember when I see you. You have to forgive me if I don't. Nice to see you again, Darren. I bet there is one, is there? Yes, you see. Got one right. Right. I've got a lot. It's a bit cold in here, isn't it? Right, what have you got to ask?
Right. I'm going to start off with Come Dine With Me. How proud of me is that we can come dine with me?
Come dine with me. Anybody watching? My agent rang me up and said, they've asked you to do Come Dine With Me. I said, forget it. I haven't cooked anything other than beans on toast or an average breakfast for 35 years. I mean, why get married and cook? Okay? Come on, guys. Especially if your wife is 1,000 times better at it than you are. I dug myself out of that hole, didn't I? So I genuinely have never had any interest in it. I promise you that one kind of program on television I would change over as soon as it comes on is a cookery program. Now if they have eating programs, that's different. So I said, oh no, I'm not interested. And my family went ballistic. You've got to do it, it'll be a laugh. So in the end I was persuaded, and also they said, you might win some money for your charity. I said, fat chance, you have to win to do that. But I was very lucky because the week before I did it, I was on tour doing a play called Woman in White, and there was an actress in that called Carol Ford who invited us round to dinner and served up the most brilliant pork I've ever eaten in my life. And my wife was in tears, so I can tell the truth, it was even better than hers. And I said, can I have the recipe? She said, oh yeah, it's dead easy. Just stick it in a pot and leave it for 4 hours. And it was, and I did. And it was very good. And mainly because the other contestants weren't very keen on each other, and they quite like me. I think that's the only reason I won. But it was great fun to do. It was the most exhausting job I've ever had in my life. The film crew arrived in my house 9 o'clock on the Friday morning and left at 5 o'clock on the Saturday morning. So next time you watch Come Dine With Me, and they say, well, the main course was cold, and that's because it's being served at 2 o'clock in the morning, because the camera crew will be going, oh, do it again from that angle, do it again from that angle. They only have one camera for the whole shoot, so everything you see they have to set up all over again and relight. It takes forever. How anyone ever gets any decent food in that program, I have no idea.
I think you're a worthy winner.
Well, thank you very much. And the local dog rescue got £1,000, which, yeah.
Did you get the rest of the food?
Don't you know, it was the only day of the week, he said, you know, picking himself up, when the crew dived on it. Every other day they all kind of went home. On the last night they all ate the rest of my food. I was really chuffed. And I genuinely did cook it myself. With a piece of paper with lift spoon, put spoon in, sugar, pour sugar in. Cooking's easy. I've done it once, don't have to do it again. Anyone here done Come Dine With Me? Because most places I go to, someone says, yeah, I did that. No? Well, you should. When you get 4 decent meals, even if you're a crap cook. Oh, shedding me clothes. It's warm.
The warmth of appreciation is
it? It's the warmth of your smiles.
I say your era as Doctor Who, for better or for worse,
Hey,
is defined by its controversies. But I want to avoid those. I don't want to go into those because you spoke about the past. I don't know.
but you have mentioned them then.
Yeah. No, I want
So you're avoiding them, but you're going to draw attention to the fact that there were some controversies.
There were.
So what were they
They
then?
may or may not have been outside of your remit.
Have you heard about interviewing me?
Oh yes, I have. That's why I was trying to skirt around it.
Have you got insurance?
Oh, there was
Well, skirt around the controversies.
there was the invading Poland controversy and
Invading Poland, yes.
yes.
I think he's confusing me with someone else.
So let's talk about what you're proud of. What do you look back on and think that is what I did? I put my impression on it, and that's what I loved about being in that show. Then.
In Doctor Who?
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of a single second of it. I'm not unduly proud, but I can look back on it and say I did the best job I could. And yes, it was fashionable perhaps for a while to go, oh, Colin Baker, or the Sixth Doctor. But I'm enjoying a kind of renaissance, partly because of Big Finish.
Yep.
Because, you know, the people who kind of had the received opinion that my tenure wasn't all that great didn't take account of the fact that there was an awful lot of other things going on. And an actor's performance isn't the only part of the totality that is a series of Doctor Who.
Yep.
And there were backstage rows between producers and writers. Some of the scripts were 100%, I acknowledge. But I think we did the best possible job we could of them. And I look back on that small body of work, which is a tenth of my work as a professional actor, and I think I did a reasonable job. Yeah, I mean, Matt Smith has had some brilliant scripts and he's doing them brilliantly. And I think his era will be remembered as, you know, the new golden era, perhaps. Because I love Doctor Who now. I think it's fantastic. I really do. I can't fault it. It's got scary again. That's what I like about it. Because even that was a problem when I was doing it. You know, people fall into acid baths. I didn't shove them. They came running towards me and I ducked out the way and they fell in. And I get blamed for being violent Doctor. And now you get weeping angels that turn you to stone. You get gas masks children in playgrounds going, "Are you my mummy?" Which is really scary. But we all like it now. It's fashion's changed.
Absolutely. No, I mean, if it was treated as a whipping boy in a way, I don't think it's that much.
Some people pay for that, you know. I can see one out there. I spotted him on the way in.
Did you like I thought it was a brave move that you were introduced to the last story of the season. Did you think that was a good move?
Yeah, it was a brave move. It probably wasn't a good idea because given the persona they'd written for my Doctor, which was that the regeneration should be traumatic to the extent that I went manic, as opposed to Peter's regeneration, which made him kind of, you know, weak and lackluster and needy, and carried around looking kind of helpless and beautiful. They turned me into the beast of Baghdad, and I was going around, you know, shoving my assistant in the direction of the Cybermen, saying, "Take her, not me," and all that was going on in Twin Dilemma. At the end of it, certainly, the Doctor was back, but I think some of the audience went, "Don't like him," and they had 6 months to think about that before the new series came. So, you know, maybe it didn't help me, but it made the program interesting. And if I was watching it, I'd have liked it, because I thought, hey, now this is going somewhere different. You know, this guy's a nutter.
I've got to admit, I love your final scene in Andrew's Army, when you first take over. I mean, if nothing else, you introduced one of the classic Doctor Who lines. Change,
my dear, not a moment too soon. I say that every morning as I survey my knickers on the floor. Change, my dear. Yeah, it was a good line.
Yeah.
I spoilt it by blinking. It really annoys me. If you watch that, I just blink in the middle. There were 2 takes, and the other one I didn't blink. And every time I watch that, it's obviously shown quite a lot of these kind of events. Don't blink. And if you look at the best actors ever, you never see them blink.
Yeah.
I don't think in Silence of the Lambs, Anthony Hopkins ever blinked. And it was just brilliant.
Yeah, they say all the best films though.
Yeah.
And you had a bit of a Society of Doctors.
Mind you, I wasn't totally villainous, so I suppose it was all right to blink once.
Yeah, you could have been got by the angels though.
You know what?
The angels could have got.
The Asians? What Asians?
It's quite well known the story of how you got the part because you were very entertaining at a wedding. What were you doing at this wedding?
Oh, yeah, it's a story. I did one episode with Peter Davison, which was, what's it called?
Love of Infinity.
Love of Infinity, thank you very much. I played Maxil, the guard. You alright? Are we too noisy for you here? I played Maxil the guard, and, well, you know about that, I'm going to talk about that. And the assistant floor manager on the programme got married a few weeks later and invited me, along with a lot of other people, to the wedding because we got on very well. It was one of those days when, well, you know, weddings are a time when you all feel jolly and happy. And John Nathan Turner tells the story, not me, or told the story, that John said that, you know, I made everybody laugh. Well, that was one day in about 10,000, because on the other 9,999, I don't make anybody laugh. And he went away from that, he said, saying, I found my new doctor, because he knew at that point that Peter Davison was planning to leave quite soon. So, yeah, it was just, we all have those days. At the end of which you think, yeah, I even liked myself today. It was one of those days.
You can't remember exactly what it was.
I can't remember a darn thing about it now.
From that,
I was probably holding forth to being a boring actor, you know. I remember when I was working with Pinky. One of those sort of days.
but from that point on, I mean, was it literally you were offered the role and that was it? Or did you have to go through an audition process?
No, I was. John Nathan Turner said to me he was thinking of offering me the role, and he gave me a load of tapes, one from each doctor that existed at that point. Take them out and come back and let's talk about what kind of doctor you'd like to be. And I did that, and he liked the conversation, and he said, your appointment has got to be confirmed by the head of series, who's a man called David Reed. So let's go upstairs and meet him. So I went upstairs to meet David Reed, who was watching it was the famous test match where he and both of them single-handedly turned defeat into victory. And I've been listening to it in the car on the way in, as indeed I was listening to the test match in the car on the way in today. And it was interesting cricket, and we're being thrashed again. Anyway, went in there, and he went, oh, sorry, I'm watching the cricket. I said, no, what's the score? We chatted about cricket for 15 minutes, and John said, Doctor Who? Yes, that'll be fine. and I became Doctor Who. I always say that there are thousands of brilliant actors with lots of talent who never get a lucky break. I had 2 in my life. That one was one of them, where things combined in my favour. And the other one was when I got a part in a series called The Brothers, which was a similar kind of story, pure luck, being in the right place at the right time. You've got to be able to do it as well, you know, and presumably I did to their satisfaction. But I think I'm due another one, actually. Because for a long while, because in 1973 I did the Brothers, which was my first kind of break on television, for 3 years. Then in 1983 I did Doctor Who for 3 years. I had high hopes for 1993 and 2003. I'm just hoping that 2013 is not far away. But you know, something might happen in 2013. A question I'm being asked a lot. I have been asked if I want to do a 2013 multi-doctor special. Unfortunately, the people who asked me were fans. I haven't been asked by anybody of any power yet, and neither has anybody else as far as I know. Obviously, for the fans who've been watching the programme for all of their lives, it would be great to have all the doctors together. But from the production team's point of view, I can see there are huge problems with that. Look at me. Look at the photograph of me in 1983 and then say, well, how would you do that to them? And to a lesser extent, I know Peter did some years later for that Christmas special, but he looks a bit closer to himself. But again, none of us bear that favourable comparison to our 25 years ago personas. So, unless you have, oh, he's been through an ageing stream of tachyons from the planet Sog, which is all a bit clunky, I suspect you may not get your multi-doctor episodes.
Suspect not, but wouldn't you like to go back as a winner?
I'd love to go back as anything. No, I'd love to be in it. I'd go back in a rubber suit, just for the crack. But, no, not the crack in the suit, you know. It's an Irish expression, you want the crack. Yeah. I mean, unless, you know, it was a humiliatingly brief appearance where they all said, you were a rubbish doctor. In which case I might say no. I can't imagine myself not wanting to be part of it, but I'm not holding my breath.
Wasn't there, so you just reminded me, wasn't there an anniversary special planned at some point that didn't treat some sort of, like, it was all based around Tom Baker and then the others were reduced?
There was a 1989 film proposed, a one-off called, somebody out here will know. What?
Dark Dimension.
Dark Dimension, that was the one. And it was a script that was sent to me. And when I was reading it, it said, you know, the doctor. And then it said, the third doctor. And he was on for 5 pages and went. Then it said, the fifth doctor, 5 pages and went. And then it said, the seventh doctor. Then he said, the sixth. And I worked out in the end that the doctor was the fourth doctor. So it was a huge story for the fourth doctor, with brief, irrelevant supporting roles for the rest of us. And I happened to be doing a fan video with John Pertwee, Peter Davison and Sylvester McCoy the very week they sent out that script. And we all sat there the following day having read it, and John was the first to say virtually that he was offended, because he was the oldest surviving doctor, and to be treated in such a kind of cavalier way. All of us anyway were going to say no, but the BBC found out what was going on, because it wasn't even BBC, it was BBC Enterprises that were doing it, while the BBC were away on holiday apparently. The 2 or 3 people with clout had all gone on holiday and came back and went, what's this, you're not doing that, and put a stop to it. It wasn't that great a script, to be honest, although Tom had agreed to do it. And I gather he signed a contract, so he ended up quite happy, because they had to pay him. Why did I get jobs like that? Jobs where they pay you for not doing anything.
I mean, one constantly during the series, there were still really great guest stars during the period.
Oh.
And who did you particularly enjoy acting?
Well, there's one of them here this weekend.
Was that a leading question or what?
Yeah, I mean, Doctor Who's always had, you know, great people wanting to do it. I can't remember who the actor was that. One of the actors who came on the show said that he'd been sent the script and was going to turn it down until his son said he would never speak to him again. One of the actors in the Rani one I did. What was that called? Mark of the Rani, yes. And he said he had to do it because someone told him to. And I think that was pretty much the case with most actors. I can't imagine anybody telling Brian Blessed to do anything. So he must have wanted to do it, which was brilliant. It was great fun. I mean, Brian is not a negligible personality. And usually, when you're the doctor, you're kind of, you're the focus of attention. I willingly subordinated myself on this occasion. Now that's not true, because Brian is a total professional. When he's working, he doesn't hold the stage or anything like that. We laughed a lot, actually, Brian and I. We were busy being scurrilous about other people most of the time. No, I can't remember. Otherwise, I would tell you more. And I took over. He was taken ill a few years ago, and I took over from him in a play. So clearly, someone thinks, well, if you can't get Brian Blessed, the next best thing is Colin Baker. So perhaps I'm the second loudest actor in the country.
Give us a Dawn's Alive then.
Eh?
Give us your best call.
Dawn is alive! The mighty Blessed.
Go on then. Tell us something scurrilous about Nicola Bryan.
There's nothing scurrilous, but she and I both tweet. Anyone follow us on Twitter? I love Twitter. I tried Facebook for about 5 minutes and then head round to the hills because I set it all up and then 10,000 people said, "Are you coming back? Are you coming?" No, go away. But Twitter is nice because you can do it at leisure. You don't have to spend half an hour writing a long, complicated answer. 140 letters. I will say to those of you who think, "Oh, I asked him to do this and he never did it." When I go and tweet on, or whatever you do, there are usually I look at all my people I'm following and talk to them. Then I go to my ads, and I could spend half an hour to 3/4 of an hour just reading them. So I just whiz through, and if something leaps out, I will reply to it or retweet it. So please don't be offended, because I may not have seen the message you have sent me, because it would just take too long. But I love the opportunity, just to make the odd one of you, to make you happy, I don't know, by saying happy birthday or retweeting something you want retweeted. But I just don't have the time to look at more. And hey, I've got, as of last week, 12,000 followers. I thought that was really good until I went on to Joey Barton's tweet site. He's got something like 2 million. The power of football, eh?
Have you ever tweeted something that you regretted afterwards?
No, I haven't done an erroneous tweet. Erroneous bosh. No, I don't think so. I've done it with emails in the past. I've clicked on the wrong thing, and I once did an appalling one. Somebody said, "Do you know so-and-so, so-and-so?" And I said, "Know him? A barge pole. Keep your distance, this man is poison." And I sent it to the man. I clicked on reply all instead of reply. Oh boy. All you can do is go, "Yeah, okay, sorry I did," and at least he knew that there was no need to talk to me again. Ooh, yes, I try not to do that now.
I'm going to ask one question before I throw it out to the audience. Amongst all the doctors, you were one of the ones who really...
Can you hear him?
Not very well.
There's a microphone here.
Normally I'm pretty sweet too. Out of all the doctors, you're the one who really has embraced the fan-made videos, the audios, you started really early with a series called The Stranger that I remember.
Yeah.
And you really have, and you've almost reinvented yourself through those videos. Why do you love them so much?
I like working. And it's not even about the money, I just like working, I like doing something. I could do an awful lot more of those kind of things. I get asked to do an awful lot of fan videos and things, but I can't do them all. And it wouldn't be a good idea to do them all, even if I could. But certainly the ones, because when I did The Stranger, this was a guy who was working at the BBC as an editor, so he knew about professional standards, and he was using it as a means of getting himself a CV, because he made Doctor Who stories that weren't, he was saying. So he could get about the BBC's ownership of Doctor Who. And he knew he had a market. so he knew the cover his costs, and then he could show it to potential employers. A very sensible use of his time and ours. And he paid us a bit, not a huge amount, but they were good to do, and he was with Nicola, and I loved working with Nicola. And they were fun, and I loved doing Big Finish. If I could spend the rest of my acting career as I totter off into dodderdom, doing a couple of Big Finishes a week, that would really make me happy. You don't have to learn it. I look the same on audio. Hopefully at the moment I still sound close enough to what I did 25 years ago. And there's an endless supply of really, really good scripts. And all the people who were writing those scripts when it all started years ago are now doing them for the programme. Because they're that good.
Yeah.
And in fact, almost everyone making the programme seems to have come from being a Doctor Who fan at some point.
Yeah.
So fandom has been given a boost. It is no longer that kind of turn your face to the wall, dear, as the fan goes by kind of syndrome, where fans are regarded as kind of a bit cookie and a bit otherworldly. Now they're becoming producers, directors, writers, and then they leave Doctor Who and do other stuff. So it's not just a kind of narrow vision they've got. There's talent out there. I predict one of you will either work in Doctor Who or in television successfully. There you are.
I reckon it's
Now,
Darren.
which one will it be? Fight!
My money's on Darren.
Darren,
Yeah.
it's you.
Right, have we got a roving mic? Hooray, we have. Thank you, right. And the arm's going up.
And Roving Mike. He's a lovely fella. Roving Mike. What's that Mike at all? It's Michelle. It's Roving Michelle. You grab one. The one you fancy. Oh, that one. That's the one you fancy, is it?
Who is your favourite Doctor other than yourself?
Matt. There you are. I really like Matt. Joined me with Pat Trout. But they're all great. And it's the question you shouldn't answer, but what the heck? I'm so old now, who gives a stuff? I think Matt Smith is brilliant. I love it. He's just... Because following David Tennant was a hard job. Because David was so good and so charismatic. And Matt came along and just did something slightly quirkier and off the wall. And I never, ever, ever think I don't believe that moment with him. He makes every moment believable. He's such a good actor, I love it. And again, partly because he's got such good scripts. Find somebody else, Michelle.
What was your favourite Doctor Who episode to film and why?
Two doctors working with Patrick Troughton and having 2 or 3 weeks in Spain. And the best bit of it all was when we arrived, they'd lost some of the costumes and wigs in transit, so we had 3 days when we couldn't film. So we had to sit by a swimming pool in Seville and have the odd drink to while away the time. And Nicola and we played Doctor and Companion swimming pool wrestling. So Patrick had Fraser on his shoulders, and I had Nicola on my shoulders. And we had to wrestle, and it took an awful long time. I'm saying no more.
Hello, Colin.
Hello.
I love your commentaries on DVD, and I was wondering what you do about. Oh, hello. It's on. Yeah, you managed to get people to ask you questions as well as talking to them. Kevin McNally was particularly good on the Twin Dilemma. I was wondering if you speak to people before the commentary starts about being inclusive and asking you questions as well as you asking them.
No, we all turn up. Hello, haven't seen you for 20 years. Lovely to see you. Right, what are we doing? Let's sit down. Okay, let's start. And they press play and we chat. It's just my style, really. But I wouldn't call this cheating, but I gather that nobody else has actually thought of doing this. There is a series of books were published, they're A4, with colour on the front, for each story. They were published in the 80s or early 90s, and it's all the details of each story. It's a kind of 20-page A4 book. And I read it the night before. So all those things that I so cleverly remembered, I didn't remember at all. I read up on it, I did my research. Otherwise, you can sit there going, oh, don't remember that, don't remember that. Oh, yeah. And the danger is, also, not having seen the story for 20 years, I couldn't remember what came next. And I was as surprised as the viewer was, because, you know, I've done a lot of work since then. So I had to make it no longer a surprise when I was watching it. So I think I was afraid of having nothing to say. So I kind of researched it a bit. And then I noticed that there were things that other people might have forgotten. So I asked them questions to tease it out of them. It's called being professional, really.
What's the most obscure place you can recognise as a doctor?
A urinal. I have had an autograph book passed over a urinal stall once. I did say, I think you'd probably prefer it after I wash my hands, which was weird. Yeah, I've been abroad, you know, and not at conventions, but abroad somewhere, you know, on a beach, and someone has said, oh, it's Doctor Who. And then you think, oh God, they've seen me one pack. I can't think of anywhere like, you know, underwater snorkeling, or I suppose the urinal is a big one. Now.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
I'd just like to ask you what you think about multi-doctor audio drama.
Multi-doctor audio drama. We've done a few of those. They tend to be more difficult to do because it's very rare that we're all available at the same time. So the couple that I've done, there've only been a couple of us there, the others have been recorded at a separate time, which is never ideal. And as soon as you get a multi-doctor thing, the writer has the unenviable job of making sure that each one of the doctors will read the script and feel happy. Because we're an affable bunch, but we're very jealous of our own little, a very tiny role in the scheme of things. So I think for a writer it's not ideal, because you have to do so much to get the doctor stuff in, that there's very little left for an imaginative storyline for the whole thing. So, but yeah, the ones I've done seem to work. There was Zacharias, the very first one, The Some Things of Time. What's it called?
Signs of Time.
Sirens of Time, thank you. I have a microphone, you don't, you poor things. So I think they're a tough challenge.
Hi, Colin. What was, in your opinion, the scariest monster from all Doctors?
From all Doctors?
Aye.
I think the angels, the weeping angels. I can't think of anything more. There was a spider once, it's because I don't like spiders. But there's something about those weeping angels, though I have to say, for any young people here present who are afraid of the weeping angels, the sixth Doctor is the person to be with, because he is the one who is intelligent enough to say to you, you don't blink, you just shut one eye, and then you switch it to the other eye, then you switch it to the other eye, then you switch it to the other eye, and you're always looking at it and he can't get you, okay? The others wouldn't have thought of that. I wonder why. Think.
Hi, you said the Doctor represented 1/10 of your work. Of the 9/10, what are you most proud of and why?
survival for 40 odd years is one thing I'm proud of. There were two plays I did in particular that I enjoyed doing. Whether that's to say I'm proud of them, yes, I suppose so. The first was one I did immediately after I left Doctor Who. And another reason I'm proud of that one is because when they said, shove off, we want a new Doctor, they asked me to come back 6 months later to record a quick handover, regeneration scene. And to everybody's annoyance out here probably, I declined on the basis that if I'm going now, or you give me the whole of the next series and I go at the end of it. I'm not going to help you out. You put a spanner in my works, so I'm now going to just selfishly find what I can do. Thank God I did. Because I spent the whole of the next year doing a play called Corpse, and I wouldn't have, if I had committed to that week in April the following year, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And I played twin brothers who were trying to kill each other, basically. It went on tour for about 8-9 months, and went into the West End for 3 months, and it was the only West End play I've ever done, but my name was above the title, and I've got a photograph, pathetic, isn't it? Yeah, Colin Baker in Corpse, 1987. Never been there since, but I just adored doing it. It was a happy experience. And the other one was a rather low-budget tour of a play called Privates on Parade, which is a Peter Nichols play, and I got to play Terry, whatever his name is, who basically is an entertainer, entertained the troops in the Far East in the 1950s. So I got to dress up and play Marlene Dietrich, Vera Lynn, Noel Coward, Carla Miranda, and sing songs that were pastiches of those particular singers. And I have to say, I'm very proud of my Marlene Dietrich. John Nathan Turner always said he was deeply suspicious of me because I loved dragging up so much, like I like playing Dame. But I always believe that the best dames are the butch ones. But those were two plays that I loved. There have been lots of plays. I've been very lucky. I've played some fantastic parts, mainly on tour, you know, but going around on tour for 6 or 8 months, entertaining people in every city in the country. And I've been to practically every town and city before, except Prestatyn. Haven't been here before, but I suspect there isn't a theatre here. Is there? You see, you agree with me, don't you? I've been everywhere else.
Hi. You've already mentioned about filming the two doctors with Patrick Troughton. I just wondered if there was any other doctor you could have done a storyline with. Who would it be and why?
Oh, well, I'd love to do a storyline with Matt, for the reasons I've just explained. And I'd like to have done one with Pertwee too, because I never really knew John apart from conventions. And that one thing we did for The Stranger, in the Stranger series, right at the end, it was one with myself and Sylvester and Peter and John. And on the last couple of days I had a couple of scenes to do with John. And at the end of it, I really liked working with him. At the end he said, I really enjoyed that, we must work together again, we must do something. And we were in touch about possibly doing something together. And I was so chuffed by that, because I rated him highly. He's perhaps the most charismatic man. He could walk into this room now, and I could be talking, and every head would turn to see John. Not because, you know, he's more important or whatever it is, just because he carried an aura about him. 6'6", with a mane of white hair, that kind of patrician aura. And he just had something which people recognised. And to have someone like that, who could be quite frosty, he could be quite aloof, to say, you I like working with, kind of chucked me. You know, it's the younger actor, older actor syndrome. I dare say there may even be a younger actor out there now who is desperate for my approval. Actually, they're different these days. Younger actors walk away from older actors as as soon as you start telling a story about when I was working with Olivia, they go, walk off. Whereas I used to be, I could sit and listen to Pertwee for hours. The stories he had to tell of all those wonderful programs he did with all those great comedians. It was a great bloke.
Hello.
Hello.
It's funny you should talk about younger actors. I was recently in a production by Whispers, which I believe you're a patron.
Oh yes. Which production was it?
It was Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh yes.
And
my daughter's went to see it.
oh, good.
My daughter is currently in a Whispers production.
Oh, excellent. Anyway, I wondered if you, when you're doing live stage work, you still get nervous or scared before going on, or whether it's just a thrill of excitement.
A thrill of excitement. I get nervous. The first nights I get nervous, particularly if I think I did a play about Inspector Morse last year. Year before, last year, year before, I can't remember. Time blurs. And I was on stage the whole time, and the first time I got all the lines right was the dress rehearsal. So, because it was a mammoth learn, I got quite panicky about it. I have to say, get it right thereafter, which was a great relief. But there was a point when I thought, I'm never going to learn this. And I was nervous. Yes, I was nervous. But it's not the kind of crippling nerves that when I was a young actor, 14, 5 years ago, I used to get very, very nervous. But then I hear stories of Olivier on the first night of Othello throwing up in his dressing room with nerves. Now that is a man who everybody regarded as the finest actor of his generation, and yet he was still nervous. Because until they invent, it's funny enough, it's not about the acting. I think I can't answer for Olivier, but most actors believe they can act. But if something goes wrong and your concentration slips and you lose the lines, you're done for. So until somebody invents the chip, there's the whole of War and Peace in my head. I think that would reduce nerves massively. You can get nervous about doing it properly, but that's a minor kind of nerves, because certainly on the stage, you can get another go the next night, and it's only 400, 500 people who saw you do something that you're not particularly proud of. But I think anyone who never feels nerves at all is a tad suspect. Like, when I did my first one of these, I was quite nervous before I came out. Now I'm not. Because I know, I'm talking about me, I can do that. It's not something I have to remember. And you are clearly interested. If I had to deliver a 40-minute speech to a room full of neurosurgeons about how to do their job better, I'd be very nervous. Indeed. It's all about knowledge and hard work, really. If you've got the knowledge and you've done the hard work, the nerves should just be kind of ticking under. And without them, they do help. I find an edge on the first night gives sharpness. The danger is sustaining that 6 weeks later, when you suddenly realise you've been thinking about something else for a whole of a scene, and I'm at that bit, am I? It's a bit like when you drive